Hi everyone, welcome to our Angular series. So, in this lecture, we will understand about observables and promises. So, in Angular, observable is basically a collection of items, but it is not an array. Okay, it is not storing anything, but it is a stream of values over a time. So, it can emit multiple values and can be cancelled anytime. And this is basically used to represent a stream of asynchronous data over time. So, what is asynchronous? So, asynchronous is basically which waits for some response and then it emits the value. It doesn't emits the value continuously. Okay, if it is continuously emitting without any wait of any other response, then it is known as synchronous data, and this is asynchronous data. Okay, and this observable is provided by your RxJS library, that is reactive extensions for JavaScript. And this observables can emit multiple values. This is a feature you should always remember, and it can be cancelled anytime. And how can you cancel it? You can cancel it using unsubscribe method. And it is lazy, it is not eager. That means it does not start execution until it is subscribed. Okay, and as I said that it is provided by RxJS, that means it supports RxJS operators like map, filter, retry, and many more. And this is one of the most important point, that Angular's HTTP client returns observables by default. Okay, so now you can see that we have imported observable from RxJS library. Now how we have created this observable? We have created using new keyword, new observable. Okay, and we are subscribing it. Subscriber dot next. Okay, dot next. So we have to keep these things in mind if we are creating an observable. Now in observable, there are two keywords available in RxJS. One is of and one is from. Now, if I am giving an array as in my input, okay, in observables, I have used of keyword, then this will be considered as an array only, okay, it is considered as single object. So, whenever I will subscribe the value, I will get what? Array 1, 2, 3 only. But if I'm using from keyword, then what will happen, that here in this array I have 1, 2, 3. So it will emit individual values from the array when, if I will use this from operator. Understood the difference between of and for? Of basically considers whole argument as one single emission, and from emits each item individually. So it is important. So you can study the difference from here. Now we have several types of observables. So the most asked question is, what is the difference between hot and cold observable? So these hot and cold observables are based on its execution. So hot observable means, as you can understand from its name only, that it emits the value regardless of subscription. It will continuously emit the values. Okay, like if mouse events, WebSocket streams, so it is continuously emitting. But in cold observables, it only emits when there is any subscription. So when subscribed, it starts emitting the values. Example, HTTP request of from. Understand? Now, based on lifetime, we have finite observable and infinite. That means for finite, if I have 10 suppose numbers to be emitted, then it will emit 10 and then it stops because it is completed. So it will emit a limited number of values. But if it will be infinite observables, it will keep emitting the values indefinitely until it's unsubscribed. Suppose I have 1 to 20 values, okay, from 1 to 20, okay, and in this 1 to 20, if it is finite observable, then it will uh, emit these number values until it completes its execution. But if it will be infinite observable, what will happen, that until it is unsubscribed, it will emit. But if I unsubscribe it here, then it will stop. Okay, unless it will continuously emit. Okay, now what is a promise? So I started you from explaining this observable. Now, promises. So, promises are basically a single event, single asynchronous event. Both of these handles what? Asynchronous events. So, promise handles only single, only one value, one event. So, it is either resolved, that is completed, or rejected, so it is not completed. So, it cannot emit any more values and it cannot be cancelled at any time also. So it mostly used for one time HTTP request. Okay, this is important. When promise is used at the time of one time HTTP request or simple asynchronous task. So basically both this promise and observables, what it does, it makes the it keeps the, basically it keeps the UI responsive if it is waiting for some large events to complete. So it is keeping that UI responsive. Okay, kind of. So now this both is clear. But now one question can be asked, that what is the difference between promises and observables? So you should know that promises can handle only single, observables many. Promises eager, basically it starts executing at the time it is created. Okay, so it is either resolved or rejected. So it has three stages: pending, resolved, and rejected. Pending means it is waiting for result. Resolved, that this operation is successful. Rejected means this operation is failed. And important thing is that both of these handles what? Asynchronous operations. And promises can't be cancelled or unsubscribed. Meanwhile, observables can be. Okay. So if resolve, that means success with data, reject means failure with error. So here dot then is used, reject me dot catch is used. Now this, the three states I have explained. So you want to see that how promise is created. So this is the example. You use this new keyword and this promise. Then either resolve or reject, two states. Basically states are three, but these are basically that this can be happened either resolved or rejected. We are not counting this pending state. We are mainly considering this resolved and rejected in our creation. And we have created this set timeout and this. Okay, you can see from here. Now, I have one question, that how will you identify that when we have to use observable and when we have to use promise? So for this, I have created this table. So there are many cases, but this is some of the cases. So if we have one time API call, that is non-angular API call. So we can use promise because it's one time. Now if I have multiple asynchronous values, multiple, so that means observable should be used. If I have Angular HTTP request, so I have studied that HTTP client in Angular by default returns what? Observable. That means for Angular HTTP request, I should use observable. Okay. Now if I have any user input streams, WebSocket or live event streams, then also I should use observables. So a quick summary to revise is that promise are single response. Example, load one file. Observable is basically handling multiple responses. For example, streaming user clicks live data. Of keyword emits the entire object as one. And this from keyword emits each item individually. Observable streams can be cancelled, transformed, retried, transformed using RxJS libraries. Okay, means RxJS operators, or combined. And all these using is what? RxJS operators. Now promises are limited to one-time operations and lack stream capabilities. So tip: to identify that it is a promise, we should see that if it is using dot then and dot catch. If it is, then it is a promise. And if it is using dot subscribe, then means it is an observable. So if then and catch are used in Angular's HTTP request, if it usually means the observable was converted to a promise using dot to promise. Okay, because Angular's HTTP request will give you what? Observable. But we are using dot then and dot catch. That means promise. But this is observable. So how can we convert? So we have used dot to promise method to convert this observable into a promise. Now, this method was deprecated in Angular 10 plus versions and it was replaced by first value from or last value from. Okay, so thank you. I hope you all liked my content. So, if you liked genuinely, then please like, share, and subscribe. I hope that we will meet in our other videos too. Thank you.